Good evening. You're watching the late news on HKIBC. I'm Edna Tse.
And I'm Isabel Wong. Here are tonight's top stories. 9 key Occupy figures convicted of public nuisance charges given bail before sentencing later this month.
Carrie Lam denounces suggestions that her government is using courts for political persecution.
Benjamin Netanyahu on track to make history as Israel's longest-serving prime minister.
9 leaders of the 2014 Occupy Central movement will be sentenced later this month for their public nuisance convictions.
Some of them pleaded for a lesser penalty, arguing that they had no personal gain from the 79-day demonstration. Yupina Ng reports.
A day after they were convicted of public nuisance charges, 9 leaders of the 2014 Occupy Central protests returned to court for sentencing. Along with dozens of supporters, they marched towards Kowloon Law Court, chanting "We want universal suffrage," the slogan that symbolized the 79-day mass protests 5 years ago. Occupy co-founders Reverend Chu Yuming, law professor Benny Tai, and retired scholar Chen Kim-man were found guilty of conspiracy to cause public nuisance. Chen and Tai were also convicted of inciting others to cause a public nuisance. We are in high spirits, don't worry about us, Chen told the media before the group walked into a packed courtroom. First to mitigate was legislator Tanya Chen, who was convicted of 2 counts of inciting others to commit public nuisance. Her lawyer, Wang Qingyu, said the lengthy demonstration was a result of the lack of sufficient and effective crowd control by organizers. Nothing suggested that Chen had a direct duty of crowd controlling, he said. If police took proper action earlier, the protests would not have lasted that long, the lawyer argued. Wong also questioned the delay in prosecution, saying no charges were laid until last year. He asked the judge to consider a suspended sentence. Former student activist Cheng Xiaoyin asked for a non-custodial sentence. His lawyer Hector Poon pointed that Cheng was only 20 years old at the time, and a young age was often a relevant and powerful matter when pleading for leniency. Poon stressed his client was motivated by conscience to take part in the protests. Co-defendants Chung Yi-hwa, Isabel Wong, and Lee Wing-tat said they had no regrets. Director of Public Prosecutions David Leung said police had arrested 1,003 people and obtained more than 1,000 videos for investigations, which took a long time. After listening to arguments from both sides, Judge Johnny Chen adjourned proceedings to the 24th of April. Each of the 9 defendants face up to 7 years in jail. Yupina Ng, HKIBC.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam has lashed out at accusations that the government is using the courts as a tool for political persecution.
Her comments came after the European Union said the court ruling on Occupy Central protesters could hurt Hong Kong's democratic development. Here's Yupina Ng again.
While the court yesterday rejected civil disobedience as a defense argument in the Occupy Central trial, the European Union disagreed. It said the landmark ruling could hurt Hong Kong's democratic development.
The respect of fundamental rights and freedoms, including freedom of expression and peaceful assembly, are essential in Hong Kong's success, but this recent wave of judicial cases related to political activism could have a detrimental effect on its democratic development, and we are looking forward to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region to resume electoral reform in line with the Basic Law and to reach an agreement on an electoral system that is democratic, fair, open, transparent, and meets the Hong Kong's people's aspirations for universal suffrage.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam said she was unhappy with suggestions that Hong Kong courts are a political weapon for her administration.